Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 241. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello.
Hey there. The topic you added ahead of mine on this one, I almost added, not looking at the notes, I almost added that as the last topic as well just now.
Oh.
But anyway.
My caption is, I thought about it a lot, as you can tell.
I see that. Anyway, let's talk about Patreon.
Head on over in your web browser of choice to patreon.com/carbitrage. On this really lovely little website, you will find two open-ended levels of support starting at $1.50 a month to help people like us produce the show, host it, and buy some beer. Patreon.com/carbitrage.
Yep.
Mint.
All right. You talk about your thing.
All right,
You're
cool.
first.
Yeah, I know. This is weird that I have a first topic, but I do. So
You did this to yourself.
I know, it's fine. But, switching back and forth makes sense, so I'm going to keep doing it. Oh, man, I need to go way back and rewind first. So the federal infrastructure bill is something we've been talking about kind of off and on that has a lot of riders on it for things like the new vehicle tax credit for EVs, the used one. But it also has a lot of things to do with existing infrastructure, like R35W bridge, for instance, making sure that stuff that's deficient is getting replaced in a timely manner. Because a lot of our infrastructure is from the original 1950s Act.
We've not done a lot of shit. Like so on all bridges in America, you can actually see.
This.
Yeah, you have that. If you actually look on bridges when you drive past them, they'll actually say the build date on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Next time you're driving past a bridge, either the first and last embankment that you're on, oh, yeah, you have to make sure you don't have a problem there. Cool. Good thing you didn't have a problem. You avoided a problem. Oh, there's more coming.
Shit.
I'm so happy I didn't have to deal with this.
Sorry, I had a hand explosion.
Yes, you did.
Sorry,
listeners. when you
my beer exploded.
Yeah. Anyway, so when you drive across bridges, either on the first or last embankment on each side, it'll say the build date on it.
That's a big yikes.
And the name of the bridge. And usually it'll say sometime in the 1950s or 60s.
Sure.
Or 40s or 30s. Rarely do you see bridges made in the 80s or the 90s or the 70s, because it's been like the hot ticket for budget hawks to just cut funding for weird shit that people don't care about. And usually people don't give a shit about a bridge, because there's a bridge there. That bridge exists. Okay, I'll drive over. Did it fall down? No. Cool. All right, carrying on. It's a lot easier to cut funding for a bridge than it is to cut funding for, say, food stamps.
Sure.
Yeah, that's something where people, you immediately see the need because, you don't see, a dead kid in the street.
Out of sight, out of mind, man.
Yeah, exactly. If you have because bridges don't collapse every day, except recently.
Yep. So, on the heels of this infrastructure thing, and we won't talk specifically about what the legislation is proposed to be, because we've done it a little bit. Doesn't really matter. But the irony here is this was a bridge that was on the planned route for Biden to go talk about the infrastructure bill, and it collapsed before he got there.
Yes, it did.
So, I mean, you can't help but chuckle a bit.
It literally collapsed as Air Force One was landing. As it was, descending, for descent. To land.
It's conspiracy, man. They flew over and the jet wash broke it.
Right? Yeah, so that bridge collapsed. And that's not the first time, because, 35W is the most famous one, because that was, a big freaking bridge in the middle of...
And it was really high.
It was a big problem.
Yeah.
This one also was a similarly bad problem. And it was rated in poor condition as of 2019.
Yeah.
So
this wasn't ooh, that's news.
No, they knew this was a problem. This has been a problem for a while. And 2019. All right, let's look at the world in 2019. 2019, we did not have coronavirus yet, even though it's called COVID-19.
Well, I mean, we didn't. China did.
It was
right
China's
at the end.
problem. It was not our problem yet. We also had not had race riots in a solid 6 or 4 years, and Donald Trump was still president. Yeah, there's a lot of things. The world is a different place. Oh, you're thinking about going to war with Iran, which we have not thought about since then.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is the world is a completely different place in 2019, and that was 4 years ago. 19, 20, 21, 22. January 2019 was 4 years ago.
22. Yeah, but 3 years ago we were at January 2019.
Are we? Okay, yeah, I'm not good at math.
So if I go back 1 year, 21, go back 2 years, 20, go back 3 years, 19.
Okay, you're right, yes. It's 3 years ago.
I got to do it that way too, because it's like, it doesn't, I don't know. I'm big dumb.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it was 3 years ago. That's a long ass time. Like 3 whole years. There's like
hey,
1,000 days to fix this bridge.
This thing's going to break.
Yeah, 3 years later.
Yeah, but when? Like could be any time.
Like, poor and structurally deficient are like, that's like, don't use it bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, like how about a detour now?
yeah, like let's not use
Or
this
like
bridge.
proceed at your own risk, maybe.
Yeah, like have to have a written will before you enter the road.
State of Pennsylvania does not recognize your living will.
Yeah, sorry.
You must turn back.
Yeah, you have to use the turnpike.
I don't want to use the tollway.
Hey, you will be at work tomorrow.
Man, some of the other photos of this, I didn't realize how steep it was.
Yeah, no, it was like as bad as 35W.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a problem. Well,
Is it
like,
called Hot Dog Dam?
was it really? That was called Hot Dog Dam. I love that.
The Hot Dog Dam Bridge.
The Hot Dog Dam Bridge. But yeah, it's in the infrastructure bill keeps getting held up in Congress because like
Filibuster.
Joe Manchin is mad about something about coal, and fuck Joe Manchin. Like, just pass the thing. Like, obviously,
We had to do that in the 50s. We needed it. We need to fix all the crap that's 70 years old
if you
now.
have like, if there's like one individual problem that's holding up what is already a larger bill, and it's not like a civil rights issue, like, just let the fucking bill go. Like, there's a larger.
Yeah, this isn't a political thing.
This is like a safety thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, all political things for the most part are safety things, but like, this is not something
Only
you should
because
politicize.
It's been made political.
Yeah, you should not politicize this.
Just like
it's just so ridiculous.
Coronavirus is not a political item.
Yeah.
Now it is.
COVID should not be politicized. This should not be politicized. Like, there's
Fix the broken shit.
if there's like plenty of things you can politicize that are fine to politicize. This is like me falling into a river is not something I want politicized.
Yeah, I'm already saving up to pay my taxes. It's fine.
No, so it's ridiculous.
We don't want a repeat of Hot Dog Dam.
No, we don't. Anyway,
I
so
hope that turns into the
with the name.
no
Yes.
the thing for the episode, the thumbnail.
The thumbnail.
I really hope
you
it
can
does.
just like save that photo.
I
and
could,
the
but I'm
thumbnail.
not gonna. You know me. I'm
Yeah, that's
lazy.
fair. Anyway, so this is officially February when you were listening to this, even though we're recording in January. So that means it's Black History Month, and every Black History Month on Carbitrage, I try to highlight cool things that African American people have done in American automotive culture, because a lot of people like to overlook that cool stuff.
Yes, they do. I mean, I remember when we did this last year. I had just watched Uppity. And,
Yeah.
like, I had no idea who Willie T. Ribbs was. And
Yeah,
he's like one of the coolest racing personalities ever.
We talked about Willie T. Ribbs, and we talked about Brotherhood Speedway.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, like, Terminal Island. Like, there's a lot of like cool things that have happened. In this one, we're going to talk about C.R. Patterson and Sons.
Okay.
And C.R. Patterson and Sons was, you can hit this pre-war bell in a second here. Founded by Frederick Douglass Patterson. It was named after his father, and it was founded in 1915. There we go.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So C.R. Patterson was the first black-owned automotive company.
Okay.
And they actually made cars. The thing is, though, in 1915, the only company in the world at that point in time that was using an assembly line was Ford. And C.R. Patterson was not. And C.R. Patterson made a similar car to Ford, cost about twice as much, which, I mean, is not that expensive all said and done.
I was gonna say, yeah, compare it to something else similar that
It'd be
wasn't built on a
It'd be
assembly line,
equivalent
though.
to like a $20,000 car as opposed to a $10,000 car. Like,
Okay.
that's kind of like what
A
we're
20 grand Mirage.
Yeah, basically, you're looking at a difference like between like a Mirage and like a Piaggio and Mivi. Like,
I have not heard Piaggio in a long time. I feel like that got completely supplanted by Dacia.
no, they're in Southeast Asia. Like Piaggio and like Proton are like kind of the shitball cars. you
East
can get in-
Rimmers or whatever.
They're like the shitball cars you can get in Vietnam. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I actually have a photo of what a C.R. Patterson looks like.
Is it the first link?
It's the one. If you look at the names of the links, it'll tell you.
Is it that one?
It's the one that says "car with body." Click this hyperlink The URL itself is long and gross.
Why isn't this one the first link? I clicked the first one. There you go.
Because I literally labeled them. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but I don't read good.
So, C.R. Patterson.
Ryan's just fighting his tongue over there, like, you bastard.
C.R. Patterson, it was founded by Frederick Douglass Patterson, named after his dad, not himself, just because he was a great son that names his successful car company after his dad. And this is actually what they made. They made a car that was entirely as good as a...
Looks decent.
Yeah, it's as good as a Model T. It has some luxury amenities, but it's not like full-blown luxury. Like, you're not gonna go hunt down a Stutz with one of these. But you're...
Did it use a thermosiphon cooling system?
Yes, actually. I do know that part.
Is it a total loss oiler?
No, it is not.
Pressurized oil system.
I think it's not. I think it's actually... I'm not sure what the early ones were.
Wow.
I know when they moved on to doing buses later on, they had pressurized oiling systems.
Very
but
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool, car. I mean, the Model T had a pressurized oiling system, if I'm not mistaken.
Those were slingers.
Really?
They weren't total loss, but they were slingers.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that Model T had.
First Ford engine to have a pressurized oil system was the Flathead.
Oh,
the
that's
V8.
fancy. There you go.
God, I hate that I know that.
There you go. But so the company making cars, they made really good cars, but they were in kind of a weird spot where it's it wasn't quite. They kind of made like a Buick. It wasn't quite as
Not a
nice.
Cadillac.
It wasn't a
but
Cadillac.
okay.
It wasn't a Ford. But they were produced in Cadillac numbers.
Okay.
Or they didn't make any of them because they weren't using a production line. Which is the problem is what was going on in Detroit is very different from what was going on in Greensville, Ohio, where they lived.
Sure.
And so the assembly line, thought pattern, Ohio, to get to Detroit, you had to go through Indiana, where everybody else was.
Yeah.
And nobody in Indiana was using an assembly line. They were all hand building everything because they were all making Duesenbergs.
That was the norm at the time.
Exactly. So they were making fancy cars like Auburns and Cords.
Coach build.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I should be hitting the pre-war belt more, but
we don't want to wear it out. But so what actually happened was C.R. Patterson was on the brink of bankruptcy, and he's like, well, I can't make cars I can't make enough cars to actually make money doing this. What else can we make? So he moved on to buses, and he actually made America's first dedicated school buses, and that was the very first dedicated school bus company in America, kind of like how Bluebird is today.
Sure.
It's Bluebird's the place to get a bus, and that's what C.R. Patterson was.
Thomas.
Yeah, and so this is actually from the Greenfield School District, from Greenfield. Yeah, it's from I think Greenfield, Ohio. It's a different city. But yeah, it's a C.R. Patterson school bus, and these were the school bus to get. And they lasted all the way through until 1939. Frederick Douglass Patterson died some point during the Depression, and it was actually his family that sold off the car brand and kind of just sold off the company.
Does this bus only have rear wheel brakes?
Yes.
Cool.
Real drums.
No, your children are safe here. It does. I mean, I have to say, it looks like you would know that that's a school bus, even if it didn't say school district on it.
No, it's obviously a school bus. The thing is, though, that is actually relatively safe, because at this point in time, rear wheel drums were the safest, best brakes that you could get. Because otherwise, what you'd have is a transmission drum.
Oh yeah, like a Model T.
Yeah, so you have one drum on the transmission.
Braking one wheel.
No, it brakes the drive shaft.
Well, yeah, but it's braking one wheel.
Yeah, basically.
Because a Model T did not have a differential.
No, it didn't. So it didn't. You were. That was not safe. This, however, is kind of safe. Also,
I wonder if they were hydraulic.
No,
they were mechanical.
Yes.
Cable brakes. Gotcha.
Yes.
There's nothing inherently wrong with that.
No, but they're just not as reliable.
Correct.
So I just think that C.R. Patterson was somebody that this company is something that we never really talked about, and they were pretty instrumental in American automotive history because literally the school bus came from them. A black man created the school bus. So I think that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Black History Month entry number 1 for 2022.
Hell yeah. I love that you planned ahead to know when this episode was going to drop. That's genius.
Thank you. It's taken us 3-4 years to figure this out.
We've been doing this since 2000.
17, 18, yeah.
Started in early 18. Wow. Okay.
So yeah,
we've been doing this for 4 years.
We've had 4 years to
Holy
figure this.
shit,
This
man.
is the first year that I thought ahead, because I was going like, oh, my birthday's coming up. That means the next time we record, it will be Black History Month.
You and I will always operate in very different ways, and that's a good thing. So I don't have any links from my next story, but I originally threw this in because the reason why I woke up at 7 in the morning on a Sunday, which I do not do.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you're right. You sleep until 8.
8. Thank you. There's a big difference for me between 7 and 8.
I literally, on a weekday, wake up at 9.
On a weekday, I wake up at 5:51.
And on a weekday, I wake up at 9, and I get out of bed before 10.
I get out of bed at 6 on the dot. Then I get to work at 6:19.
If I spun out of the bed that fast, I'd be like puking.
I go slow. I pet cats for 3 minutes as I slowly go from horizontal to vertical, and then it's out the door.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
for me.
Neither here nor there. Got out the door, drove to my parents' house where I grew up to pick up Dr. Wags, the 2016
Yes.
BMW 328D M Sport wagon. So for the last... Let's see, she bought that car brand new. So it would have been in late 2015 she bought it. So 2 years after that, the
Also,
car hit about...
phenomenal spec for that wagon.
Oh, it's perfect. It's white on black. It's sport. It has all the dealer-installed M Sport stuff on
That's
it.
so cool.
It's got the LED headlights. I mean, the thing is, other than having black kidneys, it is perfect.
Yeah.
And my 71-year-old mother drives this thing.
That's very cool.
And she loves it. She will not trade it. That's why she's like, tell me what this car needs and we'll do it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
will tell you. And I was under it today, and the thing I'll talk to you about in just a second was the last thing that she always got, like, you know, the additional comments you get when you bring it in for
Yeah.
an oil change or something.
That one comment.
The one thing that was wrong with the
And
car.
what was that?
Okay, since the car was 2 years old,
Yeah.
just out of warranty, it started leaking at 63,000 miles. So the rear differentials, output shaft seals, both of them started dripping, seeping. Not to the point where it left any oil on the ground. Seeping.
That's different than dripping. Seeping is like, like we call it
It
dealer
was
leaking.
slow.
It's called dealer leaking, where it's like mildly moist around it.
I told her, I'm like, if you don't see any spots on the ground, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
This, even today, was not that bad. So what I did was, again, it started leaking 3,000 miles after the warranty elapsed. I told her it's not a problem. And I did a full fluid service on everything on that car. Brakes, transfer case, diffs. I looked today because I paint pen on the diff when I do the service, because that's the easiest way to remember when you
That's a
last
good
looked
idea,
at it. I did it 2 years ago, almost on the nose.
Okay.
And the diff case was wet, but never dripped. So, getting to a head here, I found out that every single 2 and 3 series from 2012 essentially to 2018 uses the same diff. So it's a 281, which is insanely tall.
That's a very tall.
They use an 8-speed ZF box, so apparently the first gear is short enough where the 281 makes sense.
That makes sense,
But anyway, I found a diff on eBay out of a 230i, a bright orange one, an auto 230i, rear-wheel drive, 2,000 miles. The diff was cheap,
Yeah.
and the seals are not. And they're not easy to put in. You know as well as I do, if you put a seal in wrong, it leaks way worse.
Yeah, that's awful.
So I bought a low-mileage diff for about half the price of seals, and I just put it in this morning. But I have to say, this is the first BMW I've ever worked on that doesn't have companion flanges on the output of the differential. So the CVs don't bolt onto it. They go all the way into the diff.
like you would on a Toyota or a Honda or like any other car
Or
in
like
the
a
world.
70s Mercedes.
Yeah, literally anything other than German cars, yeah.
At least they were...
Actually, Toyota does do a companion flange, yeah.
yeah, Volkswagens do too.
Yeah,
For
that's
the most
weird.
part.
Huh.
This was really odd for BMW, and I noticed this when I bought the diff, because obviously it's out of the car. The eBay listing said it wasn't compatible with the 328D, but I looked, and it was like the same part number on the case, and it said 281, and it had a companion flange on the front for a flex disc, so I bought it. Not only is it compatible, it is the exact same casting number and part number as the 328
It's literally the
diff.
same thing.
It is the same diff. So I popped that in there, filled it up with oil. The only real downside, and the thing I lament about having to do it on that car versus, Mr. Wags, the previous generation, is those axles. Like, if it had companion flanges, that job would have taken half the time. I had to take the entire left rear suspension apart on the car to get the half shaft far enough out to get the diff out.
That's annoying.
Because you have to pull it, 6 inches to one side to get the axle out of the diff so you can take the other one out.
Because just stuff that. Oh yeah, you're right. You can't.
There's not much leeway. I mean, you
That's
get a little
dumb.
compression on a CV, but you're talking maybe like a half inch.
I'm used to Honda where like they plan around that. So every time I've ever had a car that didn't have a companion flange, it was designed to be like worked with, like, or Mazda for that matter. They don't use companion flanges, but like it's also like they design their cars, they know it's gonna break, so they make it so you can just bend everything back.
It's uncommon for a BMW
That's
diff
so
to leak
weird.
this early, but hers, like I said, right out of warranty, that's what happened. And I think it's getting more common as these things get newer, and I don't know if that's a consequence of the design with the axle going straight into the diff. I don't think so, but it's worrying.
I wonder if that stupid long, like, gear ratio has something to do with it.
The 281, maybe. Yeah, maybe it's less stable somehow, or, I mean, the seal's a completely different design than all the earlier diffs.
Oh, there's your problem right there. It's the seal design.
Could be. I mean,
That's literally your problem.
the diff looks the same. It would
So-
not surprise me if you could run E90 axles and diff in that car.
So when I say, like, the seal makes a difference, on Volkswagen 2OTs, the whole point of them leaking is
Yeah.
because of a shit seal design. You use a slightly modified version of that seal design, it never leaks.
I will say the diff I got is out of a 2018, so maybe it has updated seals.
Maybe you'll get lucky, you'll never do it again.
I hope not. Although I know what to do this time, and like honestly,
It's still not fun.
you
though.
get under there and you're like, "Are you kidding me, engineers?" And then you pull the full board, 4 bolts out of the suspension. Like that was easy. It really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you first messaged me, they were coming down. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the shower. Like I got that dirty doing
God,
a
that
diff.
sounds awful.
It was terrible. So I don't know. I worry that cars that are designed to be perfect just within their warranty period are going to get more and more common, even though they're essentially getting better and better built as time goes on.
It's not. That doesn't matter. This is the thing is, you can have the best built anything, and you cannot plan for every contingency.
Right.
Shit will break eventually.
Yeah.
Just because molecules move around, atoms move, everything moves. There is no way that you can produce something to never break. It will guarantee to break at some point. So it's just best to like make it a little bit shittier, and so you can service it.
And put a service schedule on it. Yeah.
Yeah, just make it so you can service it. Because, like, this is the thing, is like, all right, let's see here, about 18, pre-war. I think it's about, God, when did he do this? 1856, I think, is when Colt made the Dragoon.
What is that?
It's the Colt's early revolvers. And the reason that gun was like the gun that won the West was because it was designed to be fixed.
Sure.
It had interchangeable parts. And that's what I'm saying. Is like, even though that gun was just as good as the most technically sound one-off revolver that you could get at that point in time, because you could fix parts because shit will break. And he's like, yeah, at some point something will break, and I don't want to have them send it from Arizona to like New York for me to fix it. So he's like, I'll just make the part and then just send it to a general store and somebody can buy it.
I do remember Colt making like the best engineered firearms in the late 1800s.
And so the reason for that is there's firearms where there were a lot of other people that made firearms that are just as good as Colt, but the thing was you could actually get that hammer.
You
that,
get
like,
a
if the
firing
hammer,
strike or
like if your hammer like cracked or something,
you don't have to go to a blacksmith and get one made.
yeah,
That won't fit right.
Don't have to get one made. Yeah, and that's like so that's actually where like a lot of this came from.
Interchangeable parts were just a universal good thing.
And I feel like a lot of this engineering know-how, like engineers get dumber as we go on.
Yeah,
Like they forget things. And I feel like we're moving into like a dark age. Not immediately, but we were probably going to be like a space-faring like dark age species at some point.
A
in the
Wally
next,
age species.
Yeah, like we're going to be like a dark age like with like space colonies like in the next like 500 or 600 years, because like it's like
it's just diverging.
Yeah,
at
we're
an
just gonna-
increasingly accelerating rate.
it's just diverging, and we're gonna be like we're
Was that
gonna
South
be in.
Park? Where they had the dumb locks and the. Dude, I remember like some television program had this exact contingency where like society was like the super smart brain perfection people and then the dumb locks, which were like the people living in like with the hammers made out of bone.
What was that? I know what you're talking about.
I think it was South Park.
I don't think it was South Park because I think it was better animated.
It could be.
But
Either way, like, ugh.
But yeah, like this is the thing is like, I think about your mom's axle, and I just think about the fact that like engineers are getting worse at things.
I put it on the screen, by the way.
Yeah, and they're getting worse at things, and it's because they're trying to sell you something else, but not thinking about the fact that by trying to get you to buy a whole other thing, that's why interchangeable parts previously weren't available. Because like, well, you can just buy another one. You just buy another revolver. You just buy another musket.
I don't want one-time use anything.
Yeah, like it's not a one-time use, but like when it breaks, it breaks. Like,
it's like maybe like a paper cup, like that. Like I acknowledge that is like I want that.
Yeah,
I don't want to bring a plastic tumbler with me and refill it.
Yeah,
I don't got time for that.
But like, also these paper cups and these lids, they're different manufacturers. And look, they're interchangeable.
Weird. It's like specifications matter.
Oh, amazing.
I bet the company that makes the cover for this differential and the differential are separate.
Yeah.
Company that makes the seal for it's different.
What I'm thinking about is just like I see these differentials. I'm just like, okay, let's say somebody, 100 years from now, they get this car, and they're trying to restore it, and there's like, yeah, all cars at this point in time, if something broke, you were just supposed to replace the whole car. It's like, no, you weren't supposed to.
Sealed
they
for
were
life,
just
Ryan.
designed that way.
The people doing this diff swap in 10 years are going to be because there's no gear teeth left on the bevel because it was lifetime oil.
Yeah.
And like this diff, the dirty, shitty one, already had 2 oil changes from me.
Yeah.
Because the car's 100,000 miles, like it needed oil changes.
Yeah, every 50K, yeah. So it's just weird to me, and yeah, like engineers are getting worse as time goes on because they're giving into bean counters, and I heard examples like in Adventure Time where they find all the frozen businessmen inside the iceberg. Like those are the bean counters. They're just making the world a worse place.
Isn't it just face palm inducing
when just so wild to me
when a cartoon gets it so right?
I know, yeah. It's just like shit. Like Pendleton Ward nailed it on this. This is exactly what you had a bunch of bean counters that like caused the end of the world, and this is just like it is a single BMW differential going to like be the downfall of mankind? No, but is it like a symptom of it? Yes.
I mean, it has to be a little bit cheaper to manufacture a CV shaft that doesn't need a flange and some bolts. It's probably slightly faster to make it, but servicing it, which of course, like you said, it's designed to not be serviced. It's designed to be replaced.
Rome didn't like fall in a day. There's like a while where they're just like building towns and they just kind of slacked and they weren't making like aqueducts and stuff. And then Rome fell. This is your aqueducts.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting there.
We're definitely getting there.
Anyway, there's that.
Speaking of old things, England is lousy with old air bases, and you can buy them. And that's actually what the Top Gear test track was originally.
Let me go to your links here. Sorry, I had to resize my window. All right,
sorry.
There we go.
And actually, the original Top Gear test track was recently bought by the British Museum of Science, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
And they were actually using it to test the world's first functional like hovercraft. Not like inflatable thing, but like actually like hovers off of the ground. So I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, the Top Gear test track is not going to turn to condos. It's going to turn to future science development for a better humanity, assuming that...
This is the Grand Tour track.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Balls.
Huh. I didn't realize that was an airbase.
And here I thought that was... I thought RAF...
Well, it says Drive Tribe on the top of the roof, and that was post-BBC era.
That's definitely the eboladrome when you look at the orange track. Yeah.
What a great name. I hope they keep the name.
Yeah, I really hope they call it the eboladrome.
I'm going to go do science today. Where at? The eboladrome.
It took him, like, so long to get a good driver.
Oh, my God.
On that, and then they finally found one, and then they just, like, quit that whole segment.
I hope she's recovering, by the way. I know she had that massive accident.
What?
Yeah, she broke her back.
Holy shit, that's why they got rid of it.
Abby Wheaton?
Yeah.
Yeah, she broke her back.
Oh, that's probably why they got rid of the driver thing.
I don't know. But
because they finally found a good one, because all the other ones are horrible.
Dude, Abby Wheaton, and she's fucking beautiful, too.
Yeah. But, like, all the other, like, drivers are just awful. So.
Yeah, the American.
Oh, actually, Abby Eaton is being invited to that, so I guess she's fine.
Well,
So-
I think she's still in a full body cast or whatever. or
As a
brace.
result, it is proposed that a few other options have become home of the channel's upcoming track videos, for which it will be inviting friends like Abby, Eden, Tiff, and Adele, and Jimmy Broadbent.
Broadbent.
Yes. So yeah, as of 2024, I guess it will be open to the public. And
That's
yeah,
kinda cool.
the British Museum of Science owns it.
I would visit that.
That's very cool to me. So
I want to drive by old lady's house.
yes, that's good. With her hovercraft.
No. Turns out it's the Queen. Margaret Thatcher.
This is
This
great, though.
lady's not for turning.
But yeah, no, this is cool. It's also, oh my god, this track is in Wales. Oh god. Imagine the people that talk to you there.
Oh man.
There's
I should bring Brexit back. It can be a homecoming.
it can be the homecoming for Brexit.
Yeah, we're gonna re-Brexit.
Did you see people protesting Boris Johnson?
No.
So he heard about how he had parties, right?
No.
You know how England's had like really tight restrictions?
Yes.
This whole
Oh
time,
God, yes.
at 10 Downing Street, they've been having parties, like office parties. And Boris Johnson, yes,
I can't say
everybody
the
else
UK
is
anymore.
everybody else in the UK is not
Lockdown.
allowed to like do anything at all, and like they're actually like they will prosecute people for that. Like they're very strict about that.
Good Lord.
And Boris Johnson's like, yeah, I haven't been to any of that. I wasn't aware of that. And they had a video of him at one, and he goes, I didn't know it was a party.
Bruh.
And they're like, you were drinking a beer. And
With other people, with
Yeah.
no face coverings.
Yes. And so what a bunch of people did, or I guess have been doing, is they've been every day at the end of the day, they've been marching down the street wearing blonde wigs and Boris Johnson masks and suits, chanting "Boris loves a party" while listening to dance music.
This is just like British Mexican techno Viking.
Yeah, I've been watching this on TikTok where it's like it's like dozens and dozens of people marching down Downing Street chanting "Boris loves a party" with a Ford Transit with the door open and a bunch of speakers of like blasting electronic dance music.
Is this the F2020 scooter transit?
It's just a normal whatever
Oh man,
transit.
they should have
unfortunately.
borrowed scooters.
Yes, they should have. But it was very, very, very funny.
The flamethrowers.
I
Wow.
thought you would appreciate knowing that.
Screw you, Boris.
Boris loves a. It's like you can hear it from like blocks away of people chanting, "Boris loves a party. Boris loves a party."
It's such a the intonation is so British too.
I'm like, I've seen multiple TikTokers on different days. Like apparently this has been a reoccurring thing where I've like watched like these videos where it's like this person's like at 10 Downing Street at the front gates and like
This is the best kind of protest I've ever heard
videotaping
about.
the front gates, and you hear Boris, like, and they turn in like a block and a half down the road. There's a bunch of people like dancing down the center of the street. It's just phenomenal. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever
I
seen.
almost forgive you for Brexit Britain. Not quite, but almost.
All right, why don't you talk about your Hyundai?
Oh, let's see here. Okay, all right. I live on YouTube recommendations these days, so this is one of the last things I saw this week, and I have to bring it up because it's a new car that isn't really expensive, and it is sold with a manual transmission.
Oh,
It is
okay.
the Hyundai Elantra N, and it's not cheap at all. Starts at almost $33,000,
Okay.
but actually is a pretty decent-ish looking car. It's got basically everything you would find in the i30N and the Veloster N, but with
That's
four
cool.
doors, which is better. It does have an electronic differential in it, but I mean it gives you more so than almost any modern car I've seen. It actually gives you control over a lot of those like stability systems and even the differential. You can like vary the ramp on the clutch backs and everything with the infotainment screen, which I'm sure will be upside down when you get into it because that's the new Hyundai thing. And They
Yes.
just like to flip the screen upside down. But from what I've heard for the couple of reviews, at least on the pre-production cars that have been driven, the transmission's actually pretty good. So I've heard complaints the last several times Hyundai's put out a new manual transmission that the linkage is kind of sloppy, the clutch is really vague and light.
That sounds like a Hyundai sort of manual transmission issue.
But apparently this one is better. You can get an Elantra N line, and you have been able to for a couple years.
I included a video to one of the Boris Loves a Party protests.
We'll play that at the end. You were deep in thought over there. I was curious what was going on.
I was listening to you. I was also.
Really I do the same thing all the time. But I don't know. I have to mention these things because even though it's front-wheel drive and it's meh, it's still a new manual car.
This is the other thing. Is like Hyundai makes a sloppy manual, but it's because it's a cable manual. Like they're all sloppy, but
I'd like to
so
drive
was
one.
a Fiat 500.
Like, people complain about that transmission. It's fine.
Well, I mean, people complain about, but there's also aftermarket fixes that make great shifter linkages for them.
My shifter was stock for 83,000 miles, and
I've never had a
problem.
I like mine, but
like it's got a little rubber to it, but like it slicks through the gears so nice.
Nobody will ever make a shifter as good as the EFEG EK Civic / DCDA Integra.
As terrible as manual transmission elitists like myself are, the people that go into even further and they're shifter elitists, I'm like, dude, just stop. We're way past the point where that matters.
Yeah, no. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The correct manual transmission shifter, the best manual transmission I've ever felt in my life, period, ever, and I will die in this hill, column shift 3-speed from a Ford 2-door.
I've never driven one of those.
The flathead 3-speed column shift is the best feeling manual transmission. It feels like a gated shifter.
Well, it is technically.
Yeah, but like you know how like exactly how precise your Ferrari shifter is.
Because I calibrated it like nobody else ever does.
That's how every single one feels. And if there's
but it's probably nice and smooth because it doesn't have to be super strong.
It's buttery smooth,
yeah.
And you just know exactly where it's gonna go. You go like this, it puts it in second.
Here's a question.
You go like that, it goes into third.
Because I know you've heard this just as much as I have. What is, like, distill from everything you've gathered in the last 20 years, the shifter that people say is the best the most often? For me, it's the S2000, the 996 Porsche 911 Turbo.
People give that one a ton of credit, and it's kind of...
It's a terrible shifter.
I hate that shifter.
S2000 shifter is fine, but it's too easy to miss gears.
Yeah.
And it's too notchy for my taste. I have heard that the EM1
Actually, you know what? The
Honda
Viper.
Trans. You've heard that one's good?
Because it's a top loader.
Well, so is the S2000.
It's a top loader Tremec T5, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think it's a T56, yeah.
Or T56, yeah. It's a top loader T56. It's not like an S2000. It's a very good shifter from everything that I've heard. I've yet to hear a single bad thing about it, a first-generation Viper shifter. And there's a lot of them that are out in the road because there's a lot of Vipers that aren't one piece anymore.
True. And I mean, that was essentially the same trans as the DB7 and the C4, the late C4 Corvette.
Everybody loved those.
For a first-gen 6-speed, probably is pretty good.
Right.
I've never felt one, but
I think that might be probably the best I've ever heard. But I will die on my hill and I'm going to say flathead 3-speed. And everybody pulls them out because they don't like column shifts, and I don't understand why people don't like column shifts. So that's actually the correct way to have a transmission.
So when I flathead swap something, I'm going to have to find a way to put a column shifter on a modern vehicle.
You just take the whole shifter, or the entire steering column out.
I'm not going to put an early column in something. I bet I can take just the shifter rod and put it in there.
Well, if you put it into a E39 M5.
No, that car's too good.
No, but that's already got a reciprocating ball steering system.
Circulating.
A circulating ball steering system, which is pretty much just a steering box like you'd have.
Oh, yeah. No, that thing is like deuce and a half
So
technology.
I feel like you could probably, if you ever find like an E39 Sanson engine and you really don't care much about it, you could just put a flathead in that steering column in it. I think what you should find, if you ever like come across the chance to drive an early post-war flathead, you should, because the best way to like experience that shifter is in that car. It feels unbelievable. Like
I take the opportunity to drive pretty much anything that's presented to me.
It is the like it is agriculturally simple. Like if you ever shifted a tractor, like tractors actually have very good shifters because there's nothing in the way of it. They don't try to make it comfortable. Like, you see a shifter shaking around because it's just there. Like, it's like that level of simple. But, like...
No rubber there, mate.
Yeah, it's, like, agriculturally simple, but, like, also smooth. So, like, you can just trust it to be in gear. And it's very, very nice. Without a doubt, my favorite shifter is, like, a flathead Ford shifter.
I shouldn't have asked this question because you're going to have a bunch of people that have never driven the opposing argument's shifter. Like, I've never driven a column shift 3-speed.
That's sometimes.
But I have driven Mr. Wags, which has the best damn manual shifter I've ever felt.
I've not driven Mr. Wags, so I can't say that. But
such a good car.
I think it's one of those things, if you ever get the chance to drive one, like, you'll see why I like that. Like, is a column shift 3-speed, like, performance-wise, a good transmission? By no means. It's not a good transmission.
But it has a synchronized second and third
Yes.
gear.
And it's got a really good shifter. But that's the thing. It's like, you ask me, what is the best shifter? The best shifter can be separate from the best transmission.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
God, yes.
And so that's my thing. It's like, it might not be the best transmission, but good Lord, is that good shifter.
In fact, I would say that there is a little bit of an inverse curve.
Yeah.
Because the lower the power carrying capability of the transmission, the easier and nicer it is to shift, typically.
Actually, I will say, as far as cars I've personally driven more than once, is number one, 1946 Ford Flathead 3-speed column shift. Number 2, AW11 MR2. Number 3 is...
MR2 is a great
yeah,
shifter.
that's a really good one.
It's easy to be 30. And actually, all MR2 shifters are really
MR2
good.
shifters are great. And then my number 3 is my Civic, because I had polyurethane bushings in it and a nice metal shifter linkage.
That helps a ton. Yeah, putting like urethane or Delrin bushings on the shift cage and getting rid of the rubber grommets on the cables.
No, there's no cables.
Oh, that one's a linkage?
Yes.
Cool.
That's why I said it's the MR.
Then
that's my
getting
number
rid
3.
of all the rubber thingies in the linkage.
Yeah, and then it's literally perfect. Don't put in metal, because once it gets to metal, it actually becomes problematic.
Nah,
So
you want Delrin.
you want the Delrin or you want the poly, but you don't want metal. Metal's a little too like far past, because it's like
Urethane's a good choice.
because once you get to that, then it gets like back towards that agricultural feeling where it's
Well,
like
and it shifts the load somewhere where it shouldn't be. So like every time I've seen
Yeah.
somebody put a metal piece where there should be rubber, it breaks it.
that's what I mean. Like you kind of have to you have to treat it like a tractor. If you have that, you can't just like put it into gear. It can't smoothly put it into gear. Like
Right.
when I say like the Ford is kind of like a tractor, but like smooth, it's like it just goes and it just
Right.
works.
In my brain, I'm thinking of like, okay, yeah, well, dead stopping first, obviously, because there's no synchro mesh in first.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm thinking about dragging the lever down at a second,
it's just buttery smooth and it just works.
and you get the hot, wet sound of a flathead V8 in front
Yeah,
of you.
it's really great. It's absolutely fantastic, and the seat feels like you're inside of Snuffy's diner, because that's how the seat feels.
That's
It's
where
like
they
a
came
diner
from.
bench. Yeah.
That asbestos is so comfy.
Oh, so let's talk about one more thing before we're done here. I saw my first Ford Maverick in real life.
Okay. A friend of mine in Texas bought one. I don't know
It's a little too big.
much about it.
It's too big.
I actually had to look it up because I really assumed that these were front-wheel drive just from the unibody
I
pickup
assumed
nature.
that they were.
They are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So they're
Did it come
offered.
with the auto only?
Probably. Let me see.
Oh no! What kind of auto?
Let's find out. Configuration. Okay, so it's a 2.5 NA or a 2-liter EcoBoost engine.
Is it that dry clutch, like
Oh
dual clutch thing?
no.
Is it?
So the 2.0 EcoBoost is an 8-speed auto, which is probably a ZF, which is fine. But
Okay.
the 2.5 liter is a power split, electronically controlled CVT.
That's bad.
So they say it's a hybrid. Maybe that's okay if it's like a planetary set, but yeah, if it's like anything like the power shift, they're totally screwed. But no manuals offered, which is dumb.
Okay, whatever. But I mean, I wasn't. All right, so this is my thing. I was in an argument with somebody on a foreign vehicle marketplace group on Facebook, where I was saying like a Ram 700, which is like the
I saw your
Fiat
post.
Strada. Yeah, I said that is the truck that 95% of people need.
Correct.
Like, and everybody's making fun of it, and I'm like, all of you people are like, you want to be a cowboy, like you just don't know what you really need.
Yes.
Because what do you need? You're maybe at most. The most that truck is ever going to carry is like 1,200 pounds.
Yeah,
And
like
that's
your
if
argument, it's like it's yard waste or like a dresser. That's
Yeah.
all anyone ever moves
Like
in
I
their
said,
pickup.
like the largest item I'm ever going to feasibly put in the back of that pickup is to be a Buick Nailhead.
Sure. And it's totally fine.
And that's going to be taken immediately to an engine builder. And that'll fit in literally any truck. And the only reason it's going in a truck, not a car, is I don't have to worry about a roof when I'm pulling the engine out.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
there's definitely a dance to it when you have
Yeah.
to put it in the back of a wagon or something. It's totally
Yeah,
doable.
it's doable. It's tough, and
easier
the
in a pickup.
Buick engine's heavy enough where I don't want to do that dance. Because
Yep.
if I'm doing that dance of like, my limit for that dance is a Toyota 7M. That's like 200.
Also a heavy engine.
Yeah, it's like 280 pounds. Buick's like 400. So I'm like, no, I'm not playing this dance for this. So yeah, and that's just like I would legitimately be interested in getting a Dodge 700, and I actually found my loophole to get me one. In Mexico,
since you're never gonna get the Bremach Taos.
It's looking increasingly unlikely.
Yeah.
Fucking Vladimir Putin. Somebody needs to assassinate him.
Anyway, what's your loophole?
He needs to go away. My loophole is in Mexico. You basically need to fog a mirror to get citizenship there. And I was thinking, why don't I just have an investment property or a sublet apartment in Nuevo Leon, which is the northernmost state of Mexico. That's like, it's northeast, not the one that's bordering the Gulf, because that would be sort of expensive, I assume, to get like beachfront property.
Yeah. Although maybe not.
But like Nuevo Leon is like on the other side of like El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
So, I was thinking I can get like a small like rental property or sublet or something that's on the border of Mexico, and then I can just forward all my mail from that address to Minnesota and register my Dodge 700 to my apartment in Nuevo Leon.
It would probably work.
Because then it's just, I legally live there. It's a loophole. You can
It's
drive
probably
those
6
trucks.
months in a day, but yeah.
There's people that actually live like that are Mexican citizens and like work here on visas and like have been here for years with Mexican vehicles, and you just can't register them in the United States. You can drive them as much as you want, but you cannot register them here. So
find yourself a used Yaris GR.
Yes, a used Yaris GR, a Jimny, a Dodge 700.
God.
These are all vehicles.
All shit we've seen in that group.
Yes, all things that are available in Mexico that I want quite bad. A Renault Twizy. Yeah, like these are all great vehicles.
You'd have to ship that. Can you imagine how long it would take to drive a Twizy up from Mexico? Oh my Lanta.
It'd be forever.
Oh, it would take a month.
I'm so happy I work remotely, so I could just bring a laptop with me.
It would be a fascinating thing to document. And you could do it. I mean, EVSEs are common enough, but I mean, wow.
You know what I could do is I just get a Twizy and a Dodge 700 and put the Twizy on a trailer behind the Dodge 700.
Perfect.
And then now I've got an EV that I want, and I've got my pickup that I want. My tiny
and the
pickup.
most adorable train thing coming up from Texas.
It'd be amazing.
Aww.
So yeah, that's my loophole I thought of, because like Mexican citizenship is like comically easy. It's not like coming to America where you need to like come here and like claim asylum or something, or like
and prove you know things about our country that the citizens don't.
No, Mexico is like they're like, do you breathe? Cool. Do you have income? Yeah, cool. Even better. Yeah. We need your tax dollars.
Can you pay taxes?
We need your tax dollars. Yes, come here. And I would gladly pay taxes to have a Dodge 700 or a Renault Twizy or like any vehicle that I like.
Oh my god.
Well, I think at the end of this episode we should treat everybody to Boris Likes a Party.
By the way, the Maverick.
Yes.
The hybrid one is made in Mexico,
There
and
you
the EcoBoost one is made in Ohio and Valencia, Spain. Completely different factories. Very
That's cool.
strange. I bet one's going to be made significantly better than the other.
I would want the one made in Spain.
I would too. So you want the EcoBoost?
Yes.
All right.
EcoBoost made in Spain.
Unmute this and then
After this
turn
ad.
up desktop audio.
And skip ad. Click the skip ad button.
Oh god, so I gotta drag the cursor. I'm not signed in, I guess.
Yeah. It's literally dozens of people.
All right, they can hear it now.
Perfect.
We can't, but they can.
It's dozens and dozens.
Oh, they're
of
on
people.
masks too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they had like masks and blonde wigs, and they're dancing, chanting "Boris loves a party."
I hope they're all running speed cameras in that too. Boris Johnson's had 83,000 speeding fines this week.
Just look at it's so funny. And apparently, like a bunch of like YouTubers.
That dude's got a full-on
Yeah.
bottle of wine.
But there's a bunch of the YouTubers and Twitch streamers that have been hiring dancers to do this. Like, I guess that's the story behind it. Is there's some people that have been hiring people to go out and do this every day at the end of the workday at 10 Downing Street in the middle of the road. I just love this.
Well, if you can't go out, you got plenty of money left over, so yeah, why not hire a dancer?
This is how you do a proper protest. It's
I'm gonna go ahead
fantastic.
and like this video.
Yes, it's a good video. So that was a good thing to end on. So we will catch you guys next week. And enjoy. Well, he's probably not even prime minister now, because he's probably been recalled.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. See ya.